Hello everybody, welcome back to another Walking Dead video, and today we'll be reviewing for Season 1, Episode 5 of Tales of the Walking Dead, called Davon. And this is the episode that had the guy from The Boys in it. So let's jump right into this and talk about this episode. So this episode is a murder mystery episode. It's a kind of episode where we have our main character, and he is basically stuck in a situation where he doesn't remember what's going on, and he's apparently being accused of murder. And the episode is about him just going through everything with his amnesia, slowly remembering things and finding out who the actual murderer is in the episode. And it really works, I feel. I feel like the simple plot of, okay, we have a murder mystery works. We haven't really done this before in the Walking Dead universe, and I feel like it was very fun, it was very entertaining, and because the plot was so simple, they didn't really have to set up much. All they had to do was literally drop us right in the centre of it, and the character not remember it, and we slowly uncover the story as it goes along. So there's no pacing issues. I say this is probably one of the only episodes outside of episode 2 where there was no pacing issues, and they could jump straight into the story almost immediately with this mystery, this intrigue, this hook of what's going on. And it really helps because you are hooked immediately with the story. You don't know what's happening. The pacing is great all the way through because you slowly learn it, and you get little theories because you go like, oh, okay, so maybe he did this, or maybe they're the murderer because of this or that, or maybe he's been framed. Like, you get all these things. And this episode doesn't waste any time on being like, okay, we're going to have a lot of time of just our main character walking through the woods doing nothing, and then he'll figure out later. No, he periodically, at a good pace, figures things out. And the story's really good. It's very interesting. I will have to also mention the acting. I felt like the acting is very good all around in this episode. There are also some child actors or youngish, like teenage actors. They're all fine. They're all very good. I liked everyone. Everyone acted well. All the parts are played well. There was no annoying characters like last episode, I feel. I really didn't like last episode because they had annoying characters. This episode, every character was likeable. I connected with all the characters. I cared about all the characters. We've only 42 minutes, which is great. Moving on from how good the story and pacing was, the set pieces and the locations for this episode were also really good. Even though it takes place in the woods, and I thought, okay, it's a bit generic. No, a big chunk of this takes place in this kind of Amish town, and I really liked it. I thought it was really cool, very interesting. They did kind of, for some reason I didn't really understand, they had them all speak French at the start, so you're like, oh, is this set in Paris? No, it's just a bunch of people in America that decide they're going to be French. Really didn't make sense. I feel like there's some things they put in here just to put in here, and that's a little gripe I have. Why are they speaking French? And they made it seem like, oh, we're a French colony, but then they always speak English, and some of them don't even have French accents. Some of them have French accents, and you're like, what's really happening? I feel like they were meant to put this in France, but then they changed it halfway through. It seems like a half-done idea. But moving away from that little gripe, I like the Amish location. I like it takes a lot of place in the building, and there's some cool set pieces. I like the crush in the car scene. I like the kind of little conflict at the end. There is some downside if you do like seeing walkers. This episode has 2 walkers confirmed, but you also see 3 hallucination walkers. That is really how many walkers you see. There's not really any big walker kills or anything. This is a very character focused episode. This episode knows what it wants to tell, and it's very focused, which is really good. We have an episode which is like, we are not going to just have an idea and then go to a generic Walking Dead story. This episode leans on its kind of new and like originality. It leans on, I want to be a murder mystery that happens to be set in the Walking Dead universe, and it was very good. I liked the kind of what they did with the character, having him like have his head damaged, so he had this character not just always be by himself. He would hear voices and would have this kind of talking walker next to him, so it wasn't just the character walking around the woods by himself. He always had someone to talk to, and it was quite creepy. I really liked this episode. I will have to mention the music was a bit generic. Last episode's music was better, but there's no really standout in the music. There's no really cool shots. It's just cool locations, cool ideas, and a few things like that, which is overall a very fun time to watch this episode. It looks good. It runs well. It's very enjoyable. There's no stupid decisions, but I do want to talk about some little kind of spoilers, so be warned for that. And my spoiler is that this episode has a very big Easter egg for Heath. We do get the card with PPP, and it's in our protagonist's possession. However, it never gets explained upon. We see it twice, And that is really it. We see it like connected to a photo, but we don't see the photo. It really sucks that this episode had very much lots of mystery going into it. And then I was expecting with the PPP to have, okay, we're going to get a Heath connection, a CRM connection. No, the episode just kind of ends after the mystery is solved. So it's very standalone in, which is great. However, you set up a connection to Heath and it just doesn't get connected to. It really sucks. Maybe this episode takes place far off in the future where Heath had a child and this character is Heath's son. It could be something like that. However, we don't get told anything. All we know is this character has Heath's card. Or it's not Heath's card, actually. Heath ripped PPP and it was in Terra's possession. So how did this character get it now? Or is Heath walking around writing PPP on a lot of like identical cards? It's very weird, such a weird Easter egg. There are more Easter eggs in this episode, as we get a Merle Easter egg later on in the episode where our main character cuts off the hand of this walker next to him so he can escape from handcuffs. Now, moving on to the ending and the overall execution of the story, I would say it's all very great. Once the mystery is solved, it doesn't feel rushed. It does feel like it's an earned mystery and satisfied. It makes sense. There's no like kind of M. Night Shyamalan or whatever his name is, like last minute, like bam, it's this person, or bam, he was the killer all along. And I did at some point go like, maybe he is the killer. So the mystery is very good, and the ending of this episode is satisfying. There's a big speech in this episode, and it is all very good. There's no like, I was worried the ending could come off as preachy when I was watching it, but by the end of the speech, I was like, nah, that isn't preachy. That is just kind of a good speech. So it's a very good ending to an episode. I know a lot of endings in Tales so far feel very rushed or they're very abrupt. This ending has that bit of abruptness with our character slowly walking off, but it is still worthwhile and earned, I feel. But now it's time to move on to my one sentence, just one word overall review. And overall, this episode is great, has good storytelling, it has good writing, good acting, the pacing is amazing. I really like the murder mystery. It's a very fun time to watch. I have to say, overall, this episode is fantastic. This is a banger episode. This is my favourite episode so far in Tales. I am excited for episode 6 because that seems like a Haunted Mansion episode, but I don't think it would be as good as episode 5. Episode 5 is definitely my favourite episode. And I remember when I was doing my review for episode 1 saying, oh, this has been my favourite episode, or episode 2 after I was doing episode 2. No, this is way better than those 2 episodes. I really enjoyed this. It has such great story. The characters are cool. It is such a very interesting story. There are some big Easter eggs. They do feel a little flat. There is lots of mystery, and there are some issues. This is not a perfect episode. Like, I don't like how we don't really know anything outside of the setting of this episode. This episode is very condensed, which is strong, but also has a weakness because we don't know when it takes place. We don't know any context, like, outside of the situation. Like in all the other episodes, we knew the context. We knew when it was set, what led to this point. This episode, we basically know nothing outside of what we were shown. So there's very vague, like it seems like, okay, we don't know anything. Anything outside the woods just doesn't exist. But other than that, it is a banger episode. And I would like to know down below, what are your thoughts and opinions? Did you love the episode? Did you hate your episode? What did you think about the mystery episode that we got? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? I would like to know everything down below. And if you want more Walking Dead content, please make sure to look on the screen. If you want episode 4's review, look in the top right. If you want something recommended for you, look in the bottom. And if you want episode 6's review, look in the top left. And feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want to keep updated with all things Walking Dead. 2 videos a week, every week. And make sure to help the channel out by liking it. But this is it for me today. So goodbye, peace out, and I'll talk to you later.